All right. So my name is Liz Hansis. I'm with the YWCA in Wheeling, West Virginia. So I really just wanted to get together with people who have the same mission and like-minded to talk about fundraising. I know that at our YWCA, we have not had any fundraisers in the past couple of years due to COVID and looking to jump right back in this year. So I wanted to get together and talk about what has worked for you. Where have you seen success? So if we all want to introduce ourselves, or do we not want to do that? Okay, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. So Amy, you're the next one on my screen.
Okay, great. I'm Amy Price. I'm in YWCA White Plains and Central Westchester. So that's Westchester, New York. And I've been here. I actually started the same week that we shut down for COVID.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I've only been in this position for a year now, so we've not had any fundraisers. So I know what we've done in the past, but I myself have not been here for those. So I'm looking to switch things up too. Annie, you're next.
Annie Wells, I'm the Director of Development at YWCA Greater Austin, so Austin, Texas. Yeah, this is awesome. Thanks for putting this together.
Brian?
Yep, I'm Brian. I am the Director of Communications and Marketing, Communications and Development at YWCA in Bradford, Pennsylvania, which is northwest, just below the New York border. I've been in this position since just before Thanksgiving, so
Okay, so
really new.
Yes. Elizabeth? I think you're still muted.
Had that same problem with another meeting this morning. No. Yeah, my name is Elizabeth. I'm Chief Development Officer with YWCA Greater Lafayette in Indiana. I'm also doing my old job, which is the Director of Communications and Engagement. So wearing a couple of hats at the moment.
Yes. Nonprofit world, I feel like. Katie Jones?
Hey everyone, I'm Katie Jones from the YWCA of Syracuse and Onondaga County in Central New York. I'm the development director here. I started almost exactly 1 year ago. It'll be 1 year and 2 weeks. Keely Marriott, she was supposed to be joining us today, but she can't. She's our marketing and events coordinator who just started about three months ago. So I'm going to be bringing you with me in my car. But I will be actively engaged. So looking forward to being here.
Awesome, thank you. Tristan?
Hi, yeah, I'm Tristan. I'm at YWCA in Southwest Illinois. We're in Alton, Illinois, near St. Louis area, Missouri. I'm the administrative assistant position here. We're kind of a small team, I think, compared to some of them.
Sure. Thank you. Genevieve?
Hi everyone, I'm Genevieve, the Advancement Director at YWCA Metropolitan Phoenix. And Amy, I also started the first day of COVID. March 16th was my first day, and then we all got sent home. So that's really fun. And I'm looking forward to connecting with all of you.
Thank you. Wanda?
Hi, I'm Wanda. I am the Communications and Community Engagement Manager for YWCA of Greater Portland in Oregon. I am still very new. I started in December, but I got to help out a lot with our holiday fundraiser, which was very successful. We had 140% of our goal reached. So I'm excited to learn more about how we can do even better going forward.
Thank you. Trish?
Hi, everyone. My name is Trish Carter. I am the Associate Director of Strategic Communications for YWCA Golden Gate Silicon Valley. So we span from San Jose all the way up north of San Francisco to Marin. We have 4 annual signature events, and we've had 2 in-person events now since COVID. I started the October right before COVID. So I had one in-person event under my belt, and then everything shut down. We were able to maintain our events virtually, but they of course looked very different than what they would have in person. So nice to meet you all.
Great, thank you. Peggy?
Hi, Peggy from YWCA Delaware. I've been here for just under 2 years.
For being on here. Madeline?
Hi, my name's Maddie. I'm the Chief Development Officer at YWCA Delaware, and I just joined the team in July. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Lindsay?
Hey everyone, Trish and I are colleagues at the Golden Gate Silicon Valley YWCA, and I am new to the team. I joined in October, and so I got to see our luncheon, Inspire Luncheon in action, but working on the other events that Trish mentioned that we have coming up in 2023. Before this, I came from the 49ers Foundation, so I was doing a lot of virtual and in-person events for the last 5 years through that. So it's been a really fun transition, and a lot of my work has been in the domestic and sexual violence movement prior to this. So it's really fun to get back to this mission-driven work. So I'm really excited to have this conversation and hear from you all about what you're doing.
Awesome, thank you. Erica?
Hi, y'all. I'm Erica, and I'm with YWCA St. Paul in Minnesota. And like Wanda said, I'm new as well. I started contracting in August and was officially hired on staff in December. So I'm learning about all of the events and fundraising. I'm the marketing and communications manager, and we have a brand new director of advancement as of last week. So hoping to learn a lot from you and brainstorm and collaborate as we move forward this new year. We have one major event that we focus on, and it's called Sweet Success, which is our largest fundraiser. So we're brainstorming ideas. I'm so excited to be here. This is great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Emma, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sorry, Liz. I was trying
You're
to figure
fine.
out how to turn on my volume. I'm actually in the car as well. But I work directly with Liz at the YWCA in Wheeling, and my title is Donor Relations, and I've been there about a year and a half, and I'm really excited to get together with everybody and, hear what everybody's got going on.
Thank you. Katie?
I'm Katie. I work at the YWCA in Lewiston, Idaho. We cover Lewiston, Idaho and Clarkston, Washington, because we're right on the river. So, and then a lot of the surrounding rural areas here. Upcoming is one of our biggest fundraisers, which is support our shelters. So we're getting ready for that right now, but I'm really interested to see what other Ys do around the nation. So
Great, thank you. And Robin, I think you're our last one.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm Robin Hazlitt. I'm the Director of Marketing and Events at YWCA Boulder County in Colorado, in Boulder County, Colorado. And I've been in my role for about 3.5 years now. We do 3 major annual fundraising events. We're coming up on our gala in March. And so that's our biggest and kind of most upscale event that we do. And then we have a luncheon that we brought back last year for our 100th anniversary. And we do a Dancing with the Stars event, usually in November. And so, our events have gone really well the last couple years. So I'm excited to learn from all of you and also share anything that might be helpful.
Awesome, thank you. And thank you all for being on here. So like I said, I wanted to get motivated and bounce ideas off one another. So I don't really have a specific format of what I want this to look like. I want it to be more of a conversation, a sharing of ideas, motivate one another, for fundraising, for donations. We just kicked off our capital campaign here at the YWCA Wheeling Wednesday. So we've been crazy busy with that. We have $1.8 million to raise out of an $11 million campaign. So we need to make some money. And since we haven't had any fundraising events in a while, we just wanted to hear from other like-minded individuals that have the same exact mission as us. So one of the events that I've been looking at, and I saw, who said it? Elizabeth had said that most of us are new to the YWCA, and that is pretty interesting. I know the lifespan of a director of development is usually 1 to 2 years, but it is interesting to see that in action. But since most of us are new, I'm not sure what kind of events you see as most beneficial. I know that here at our YWCA in Wheeling, West Virginia, we're more of a rural community. We're right along the Ohio and PA border, so we're right in that tri-state area. We have some different ideas of what we would think is successful. One of the ideas that I'm looking to do this fall is a cash bash. So if anybody has ever heard of anything like that or has done anything along those lines, I would love to talk to you one-on-one, get some ideas there. But we don't have any specific events that we hold annually. Anybody that holds events, I know there were several people who said they have a running event each year. Do you see that as being more beneficial to have a running event or kind of changing it up from year to year? Any thoughts there?
So I'm happy to share that YWCA White Plains has one major signature event a year, and before COVID had several other smaller events. Our major event each year is usually the Friday before Mother's Day, and it's called In the Company of Women. It was built, so this year will be the 15th annual. In 2019 is the last time that we held it in person. It had over 500 people. I was prior to my time. I came in as they were getting ready they had to shift to 2020 to virtual. So we did virtual in 2020. I did virtual in 2021, did really, really well. 2022, I did virtual, and I have to say didn't do as well. I think people are tired of virtual events. It's not that engaging, but we weren't brave enough to try to get people in a room yet. This year, we're going to do it on May 12th, and we're doing it back in a hotel and live event. And I am holding my breath to see how many people are going to be willing to be in a room. So I've couched it this time with the hotel. I have a minimum that I have to cover, which is 250. So I went low, but the room can fit 600. And so there's different ways to divide it up. And, you know, I hope we can really push for a great turnout. And I'm open to any ideas that people have. And if anyone has had a big event, I'd love to know how did their guests receive that?
Annie, did you?
Yeah, question for you, Amy. When you're hosting these larger events in hotels, is that something that the hotel is donating, or you're buying that? Okay, thank you.
Right, and so and I will tell you that the costs for hotels seem to have gone up about 30% since prior to COVID.
Yes.
The agreement that I have right now, I don't need any room charges. I've got the grand ballroom. I have to commit to the food for the number of guests. So I'm committed for 250 guests. The least expensive lunch package is $49 a person. But then when you add that 24% hotel fee on it, you know, you really have to you've got to figure there's about $70 in there, $60 to $70 in there. That's expense on that. So
and one more follow-up question. What's the ticket price, Amy, that you're?
Our previous ticket price was $175. And so I'm going to keep it at $175. I don't want to go up. I was tempted to go down. And what I didn't say is when we did it virtually, in 2021, we did it as a free virtual event. We found that we got a good number of donations. It didn't bring in as much money in total, but the revenue, the net revenue was very good.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, I'm going to have to cover all of that with sponsorships as well as ticket sales and donations.
Thank you.
And let me just say, because I can say it to this group because you'll get it. There's a piece of me that's scared to death about this event. I like success, and it's, you know, so many of us have done events before, but not post-pandemic.
So we just had our annual event, that we call it just an end of year event is how we kind of internally discuss it. And we were nervous as well, Amy. So I'm feeling for you. We did do it in person. The venue that we ended up booking had an outdoor area. So we thought, just in case, if we need to move it outside, if the weather's beautiful, if people are personally feeling uncomfortable and they want to step outside, there's an option for that. We ended up I'm in Austin, right? So we had fire dancers out there just to be like, there's something happening out here. It was pretty silly. Our ticket price was $125, and we didn't even serve food. We just said, give us $125 because the cause is important. We didn't have a speaker series. We asked our board of directors to donate the wine. The cost of the event overall was very low because I also wanted successful numbers coming out of it. I needed my board of directors and our stakeholders to see that we could have success after such a challenge. And oh, good, they're going to turn off my electricity now. Not for any weird reasons, but they're working on the pole outside. So I might be sitting in the dark in a second. Anyway, so it was a success, but I thought very small, like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so just that's what I did is I thought small the whole time. Like what, you know, I'm not think small, I was thinking big, but like, how can I get my costs down as low as possible? And so we went in with very low cost, and it did end up being a success. And now because of the success, everyone's so excited to do it again next year. And I think now we can think a little bolder, you know, so that was our trick. Yeah.
Did anybody have complaints about not having food? Just curious, out of curiosity, did any?
You know what we did is we just had like a buffet table, because we also in Austin, we've got, you know, I don't know if you guys deal with this, but we have an amazing diversity of a population, right? So we had to have gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free, you know, just like the full spread. And so we ended up getting like an HEB gift card. And I just went to HEB the day of and just went down all of the different aisles and bought that food, and we just put it out in kind of a self-serve buffet, and it honestly was not that fancy, and people seemed quite happy. The way we got around
So she's paused.
We have to wait for her to have her internet back, I suspect.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so a lot of people are saying that theirs are held annually. Celebrated the 30th.
I don't know how to raise my hand. I'm on a Mac usually. This is Erica. We're trying to secure a venue right now, and I'm just wondering, you know, he just mentioned a hotel, but what are successful venues that you feel like? We're looking at a brewery right now, which I don't really know why, but just wondering where you've had successful venues.
Okay. Okay, so at YW Metro Phoenix, we have our 29th, we have our annual awards, tribute to leadership award ceremony. And for 26 years, it's been a luncheon, it's been a gala, it's been all these things that at this point didn't feel like our vibe anymore. Charging so much for a ticket to come to an event, eating a rubber chicken meal for your lunch. It's like, we've been there, done that. What is it? What embodies our mission and us and who we are? And the most exciting part about those events is the connections. Everyone loves to talk and connect and network, and then it's hard to quiet them down when you have to do an award ceremony. So we're like, why are we trying to quiet them and silence their voices? So to answer your question, we decided to have more of a happy hour, networking, social event. And so it takes place on a Wednesday from 4:30 to 7:30. We decided that we're getting out of those ballrooms and those conference centers because that's not us either. And we started leading with the lens of race, and gender. So we looked for women-owned businesses. So we found a woman-owned venue where she hosts weddings, and it is to die for. It is beautiful. We brought in only women-owned or minority-owned businesses as vendors. So all of our catering, woman-owned business, our DJ, AV, all of that. We start with women-owned, minority-owned, locally owned, and then if we can't hit those three, then we go to the next tier and we'll work with a big company. But we put our money where our community is. And in regards to those ticket prices, our ticket's $110 because we just celebrated our 110th anniversary. And we offered sliding scale ticket pricing. So anybody who wants to be in the room, finances are not going to be a barrier for them to get into the room. So it's a name your own price. And we also had a pay it forward price where if you're within means, why not add an extra donation to it? And our board thought we were a little crazy. Like, how many people are going to just lie and say $0, I can't afford it? And I was like, I don't think those are our people. And they weren't. Maybe 5 people took advantage of the equity ticket. So many others took advantage of the pay it forward. And so we have a small program. It's only 30 minutes long, and we are honoring 4 women who are just kicking ass and paving the way for the rest of us. And then the other 2.5 hours is all of us in community talking. There's no tables. There's no assigned tables. There's our sponsors. They get tickets to the event. The whole point is to network and to just be in community. And so that's what we did. And we're just adding on to it and we're bringing in like some live art that's a woman-owned muralist. We're doing all these just little extra things now, but it's all about building community. And we are an organization that we come from a mindset of abundance, not scarcity. And so there's not a hard like live auction and a huge ask and a paddle raise and all those things. Like, no, we want you to feel like you're a part of our organization, get connected to us, and the volunteering, the money, all of that will come. It'll come, and it does. So that's my TED Talk. Thank you.
That's awesome. I love all of that. That's great. And I love it's like so on key with our mission as well. Love it. Annie, I know that you were in the middle of saying something.
I'm so sorry, y'all. The internet is out, obviously, because that's connected to power. Which I know because I went to like 3rd grade science. Sorry about that. So I just wanted to say, is it Genevieve? Everything you're saying is exactly in line with how we thought through our event as well. We themed our event. I think themes can be really powerful. So we called ours Beyond the Male Gaze. We have a pretty strong war against women that's being waged in Texas through legislative policies. We know that like trans women's LGBTQ plus, just if you're a woman, you're not safe through policies that are being made in Texas. And so we said, what happens if the male gaze isn't on us? How would we act if we were in a room of just our sisters? And we define sisters not as cis women, but if you identify with feminine energy, if you can think past the patriarchy, what would that feel like in a room? And that's kind of like how we defined that event. It didn't mean men weren't welcome to come to the event. It just meant that it wasn't centered around their safety or their preferences. And so Genevieve, we did the same thing, women owned only. Businesses. Yeah, exactly. And it was really powerful. And we did get some people saying, I'm not going to support that event. I don't believe in that. I don't want to give you money for that. We even had one of our silent auction people pull out because he was a male donor. And he said, can I have some tickets to this event? And I said, yes, though we would love for you to give those to a woman in your life who would be honored by coming. And he said, nope, I'm not going to do that. And I love that he self-identified that he wasn't supposed to come to our event. So that made that really easy for us. Yeah. So, I think you have to stand at that line sometimes, and it's not always an easy conversation, but we do have other events as well. My internet's being glitchy. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I'm on my hotspot on my phone now, but we do have other events that are much more inclusive. Like we also had a Dia de los Muertos community mural project where we were able to invite even other nonprofits to participate with us. And this is a real good trick, y'all, because we needed billboards and we couldn't afford billboards. But now we have 3 5-year leases on billboard-sized murals with our mission on a sign in the city where both our stakeholder clients and our stakeholder donors are. So we threw an event, but really we got 3 billboards out of the event. And if anyone's curious about that, I'd love to walk you through it like offline. I'll put my email in the chat.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like it's so hard. Like there's so many grants out there for nonprofits, but we were just talking about this yesterday in one of our meetings that there's no advertising or marketing specific, or very rarely. And how are people supposed to know about our mission if we can't, if someone doesn't have the funds to, engage someone? So that's very important. So I will definitely be emailing you. Does anybody else have any specific event that they are super proud? Oh, I see Trish has her hand up.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to follow up with Genevieve as well. For all of your great insight. I think you said that the event the one you referenced was a tribute to women awards. We do the same event. Actually, we're coming up on it here in May this year, and it'll be our first time having it in person since 2019. And I was curious because you mentioned you said you sort of shifted the event and it's more of a happy hour now. So I was curious how you incorporated the awards part of that. And then also my second part of my question, I know you mentioned you charge admission. I'm curious also to hear from the group how you manage sort of ticket sales. We have an annual luncheon that is free and just sort of up to the individual to donate. We have a suggested donation of $300, but very curious if anyone has previously used that model and shifted from it, or if folks are still using that model.
All right, I'll answer you all get your other answers together about the ticket pricing, but in regards to the awards, so from 4:30 to 5:30, no, from 4:30 to 6 is, sorry, I have kittens. 4:30 to 6 it's networking and it's just free flowing. From 6 to 6:30 was the award ceremony, and we have prepackaged videos that were created for each of the honorees. And someone did ask about the nomination process. Yes, it is a public process. We had nominations open for a good 2 months. And what we did is we kind of do this passing the torch. So we ask our legacy honorees to volunteer to review these applications and nominations. And then I'm telling you, it took 2 meetings for them to narrow it down, because we had some amazing nominations this year that I just did not envy them having to choose only 4. And so we didn't. We chose 5 because we make the rules and we can do what we want. And it was the most equitable thing to do instead of trying to fit into a certain box. And so, yeah, that's how we do it. And people just loved it. Like afterwards, everyone could go and talk to the honorees. It was just such a good vibe. I can't even begin to tell you. The whole playlist was all like women empowerment music. A lot of Beyonce and Rihanna was in there, and just old. So I don't know. It was just awesome. I'll talk to any of you if you ever want to like talk offline, but I get so amped up about this event and just how cool it is. And it's for all ages, not just, it's for all ages.
Did anybody have, I know Trish had that other question about ticket sales. Did anybody have any insight into that?
The question, Trish, was that you're using a like a suggested donation amount, and you're wondering if we've had success with that and then moved away from it. Can you ask the question again, I guess?
Yeah, sure. So I guess it's just more of an internal conversation that we're having. Our luncheon has always been this free model with a suggested donation, and we're just kind of now starting to question, is that still the right approach? Because as others have mentioned, hotel costs have gone up, meal costs have gone up. So we're risking having people show up, who the value of their seat really is, maybe $100 or more. And maybe we only get a $25 donation from them. And so just curious if anyone else is using this model, or if everyone is charging a ticket price, and if that's successful for you to charge the ticket price.
And Trish, what's your like stakeholder analysis? Like, do you collect data on the people who come? Do you know who they are and kind of like?
We do. So our luncheon is really longtime supporters, longtime donors. We have a great, it's our largest fundraiser. We have a great return on it. It's just sort of, we're just kind of analyzing to determine if this is still the right way to do it, considering that all of these costs are really, much higher than they used to be. The risk is higher. All of our services have increased, right? We're serving more people than ever. So how do we just kind of make sure that we're doing the best that we can in this event?
I would say my impulse is to say, my intuition tells me if it's a success, I wouldn't question it too much if it's going well for you. I also think that at least our stakeholder, they want to know that story. So I think the nuance of what you're talking about is okay to just say to them, costs have gone up and we're considering a new model. And maybe your larger donors, you could touch base with them and just get their thoughts on it. Maybe just ask them.
Great. That's exactly what we're doing. We're preparing to send out a survey to find out if people would be warm to that. We were planning on kind of doing some research, some market research, and then some YWCA research to find out what everyone else is doing, just to kind of further support that. But it sounds like most everyone here charges ticket prices for a lot of the things that you're doing.
So we do an event that's similar to these type of things. It's our annual Salute to Women event. And this year it will be our 49th annual event. And it's generally very well received. Last year, or in 2022, we had it in person, and it's generally our biggest fundraiser of the year. But our ticket prices aren't anywhere near what I've heard some of these other ticket prices. So if anybody might be willing to share a ballpark of what kind of money you net from these type of events, I'd appreciate it, just to see where we are in comparison.
Okay, well, the records, again, predates me, but the last event that they did, and their tickets were a little higher, they were 190. And they had a lot of expense against it, but it looks to me like the net was someplace around 200,000, maybe a little bit less. I have not seen anything like that since I've come, but again, we went virtual when I came, and I am not expecting that kind. And the beauty is that in our budget this year, we did not build in that kind of expectation for the event because we weren't sure what was going to go on, so we don't have that pressure. Our thought is that even more important than the fundraising is, since this had a following, is getting the people back together in a room, letting them know what's gone on and where we're at and what we're excited about, and re-engaging.
YWCA Greater Portland, we have not had an in-person event since COVID as well. So our fundraising is literally just like phone calls, emails, marketing on social media, that type of stuff, which is why I'm here to learn about having like our first in-person event this year. But yeah, so we have not done any sort of ticket, which I think, and we also raise a lot lower amount. Like our goals would be like 60K for the Christmas one. And then in the spring, it probably will be like 100K. So I'm excited and intrigued to learn more about the ticket pricing as well too. But so far fundraising this way has been fine because then we don't have that cost of the event, but then we're also probably not raising as much as we could if we were to have an event.
So for us, I'm in a very rural area in northwestern Pennsylvania. And so we hold a local, like an annual gala luncheon honoring women. Our ticket price for that last year, and again, I'm new as of November. This event is held in March every year. But last year, I think it gets about like 120 people. So it's a smaller event. We charge $30 a ticket, and for all that went into that, it looks like the net was $6,650. So not a huge haul, but this conversation has inspired me to consider if our ticket pricing is a little low.
Our event does not net a huge amount. Well, that's relative, right? So it's around $100,000, and that's fine. But the reason why it's not at 200 or 300, we've changed up the way we do sponsorships and our partnerships, and so we are not specifically asking for sponsorship for this event because it seems very transactional. Like, hey, I want your money and we'll promote the heck out of you for this event. So what we've developed is a year-long partnership packet. And so our partners get exposure all year long, and they decide what is in alignment. Well, we work together, what's in alignment with their values and what they're trying to do. And they're getting it all year long, and it feels like a true partnership. And so the sponsorship dollars do not hit this event, but they hit our revenue numbers, and they get tickets because it's only $25 expense for us for this event per person. It's so inexpensive, and yeah, they just get a bunch of marketing benefits and tickets to other workshops and things and ways to engage their employees to do racial justice workshops with us. So we have year-long partnerships.
Genevieve, do you have a link to the partnership opportunities? That's very interesting and really smart.
I do, maybe, yes. I'll look for that.
Thanks.
We've done something really similar. I think we're in alignment. I'm going to reach out to you and talk to you more, but we do something similar because in Texas, we attract a lot of businesses, but not all those businesses like all of our focuses, our advocacy work. And so we do a lot of nuanced tailoring about when they're going to come on. Like maybe they feel good about corporate volunteering to paint a mural, but they don't feel very good about making sex health kits. So, we tailor that as well. And we also ask for not year-long partnerships. So that's kind of blowing my mind, and I'm going to copycat that great idea. But we look at kind of quarters. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that idea too. That's great. I know we have a lot of community partnerships within our area, but I never looked at it in that perspective. So yeah, that's something that I want to explore more. That's awesome. So does anybody
Can I tell you one other thing?
sorry.
Can I tell you one other thing we're doing? I'm sorry. We're so excited about it. So our event has historically been in February. We moved it to March to be more in alignment with Women's History Month. And then we decided we're just going to stake our flag into that month and call it Women's Empowerment Month. And so we're celebrating the entire month of March and sharing a lot of history and unsung heroes, unsung sheroes, just a lot of impact. So, and it ends at our event. So on March 29th is when we have our event. So I have information about that too, but we're telling everyone, like, when you lift up women and girls, like, yeah, I'll send you all the words and the website. It's just freaking awesome that so many of these I'm asking businesses to do roundup campaigns. Yeah, so we have one who's doing a month-long roundup campaign with their customers. Target came on board, so we're part of their Target Circle thing, January through March. We have, so we're asking all of these. We thought we would just reach out to women-owned businesses and say, hey, can you do a fundraiser in your store? And we're like, this isn't just a women's thing. Like, everyone should be celebrating Women's Empowerment Month. So we've opened up to all businesses, do something in your locations. We will help hype it up. We're going to blast it out to everybody and anybody, and working with the media to get some more exposure. So it's just partnership is all it is. Okay, I'll be quiet now. Thank you.
Does anybody, or has anybody been doing, and this is probably a stupid question, but direct mail campaigns, and how profitable are they for your organization?
We do primarily direct mail. Since I've been on board, I've tried to expand it more, and we've seen some success in the expansion. We started accepting cryptocurrency last year. We'll do social media, all that stuff. But in our area, it's mainly the older generation. So direct mail is usually where we get the most return, because that's what they mostly pay attention to. And that's where they send their checks. Yeah. So mainly direct mail is where we see our return in little West Virginia.
How's the crypto going? That was a hard sell for me. I mentioned that to our board, and they just basically said, like, that is too crazy. We're not going to do it. So have you had success with that, or like, how are you managing that?
Not yet. We have not had a crypto donation yet.
Okay.
But we have been marketing it. We have some interest. We have conversations lined up with people who are in that market. We're currently working with our TV station to market that a little bit better. I think it was a hard sell to the board. So I'm hoping to get some return on that soon. But yeah, I'm excited for our first one. And we know people that could stage that, but we want like a genuine, authentic, like, oh, here's a crypto donation. So we haven't had that yet.
Okay, I'm going to be following you closely. That is so cool. I would love, are we going to capture everyone's emails or maybe social media? I'd love to make sure that we're following all of you so we can support your initiatives and keep bouncing ideas off.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping if everyone is in agreement and wants to meet maybe monthly to discuss different ideas and best practices, I would love that.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Elizabeth, in answer to your question, we do a direct mail campaign around our end of year giving. And we have made that the number of letters that we send out smaller. We've become much more focused on targeting, and it does well. And we did a couple of smaller appeals over the summer and fall. One of them was to introduce a way for mid-level donors to start to donate more. So we took donors that were donating around $250 for a couple of years or more and wanted to get them to $1,000 level. We created a giving circle called the YWCA 1000 Leadership Circle. And, that brought in, 30 or more people, but it took a lot of calls. And I think what worked best was following it up by phone and even with in-person meetings. But now we've got this core group of very, very engaged, excited supporters. I also tried a mailing last summer to our lapsed donors. It did extremely poorly. So I know that, it really has to be about your message and are you meeting it? And we would have done better with the lapsed donor mailing if it wasn't an ask, if it was we're checking on you. It's been a rough couple of years for everybody in our community, and we just want to make sure you're okay.
We did something similar as well when I came on board. So in the spring, we did a mailing to our lapsed donors specifically, kind of updating them on what we've been doing in the past couple of years. I introduced myself as the new director of development, and we did get a good bit of donations back from that. So we saw a little bit more success in that arena. I think in my position specifically, it's been very inconsistent with who they've had in this position. So I think just that consistent message maybe lost some people, but trying to regain that traction.
Liz, will you be able to share with all of us the emails and the comments so that we don't have to write them all
Absolutely.
down?
So my plan
Awesome.
is I'm going to upload this video to YouTube, make it private, and I'll share it with everyone and include all the emails.
Fabulous.
I'm so that I can't speak too much to our year-end holiday appeal because we've had a lot of turnover, to be transparent, in our department. But we did do a year-end holiday appeal, and we were very focused on who we did a direct mail piece to, and then we sent out 3 targeted emails. And even one of the last day of the year brought in a lot of donations. I don't have the final numbers yet, but our team was pretty excited about it. So I mean, I guess we'll see. I'll learn more from all of you and be able to bring that to.
I'm really curious, and this ties into what you just said, Erica, about burn in your department, about how your departments are structured. I'm the chief development officer, and I have a development manager, and that's the extent of our development. And I up until I'm trying to transition this right now, but I was also responsible for communications and marketing. So it's a lean group, and as we add more programs and more financial needs to raise money for, we don't automatically say, let's build the capacity of development to support that. So I'm curious what everybody else is how you're managing.
So so I'm the marketing and development director here at the YWCA Wheeling. And then Emma, who introduced herself earlier, she's donor relations and is part-time. So that is the extent of our development office currently. We do have someone that just came on board that is focusing right now on grant writing. So that may become part of the development team, but she's brand spanking new, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think in the nonprofit world, you have to wear many different hats, and yeah, I wish there was more of a focus on building the capacity of the development team, but
I'm not one person. No, go ahead, Erica.
I was just going to say we're trying new things. Our new director of advancement is going to be focusing on individual giving, because we found that the person that only had that role, there wasn't enough work for her to do. So we brought in Sarah, who's very knowledgeable about individual giving. And then again, we're lean on our team. It's myself and my graphic designer. And then we have our, large development officer that focuses on, the big partnerships and sponsors and things like that. But we're figuring it out. I mean, we're all new. So it'll be fun chatting with everyone this year just to see what works and bring those ideas to our team. But yes, we run very lean. And in the nonprofit world, we kind of work 24/7, I think. I sleep with my computer sometimes, to be honest. Just
We're a one person of development. Personally, I am development, I am marketing, I am donor stewardship, I am individual giving, I am the grant writer, and I also practice calendar buffering, and I never work more than 40 hours a week because I love myself. And when we talk about empowering women, we have to empower ourselves first, right? I can't give a sip out of an empty cup, is what we say in the office all the time. So yeah, if it didn't get done this week, it didn't need to get done this week. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, Annie. That is absolutely true. Our CEO, all of us understand the importance of the work-life balance and all that good stuff. And we make sure that when we know folks are on PTO, we don't need to ping them. I mean, hopefully they're not looking, but we know they're looking. So then we just all decided If somebody's out on PTO, don't message them. It can wait. And so that's us trying to like help them. But there's myself as the advancement director, and I have a marketing manager and a community engagement manager. And so, and then our CEO, her and we go all over town doing our little dog and pony show and talking about YWCA together. So it's so much fun. We have a really great team over here.
At the YWCA in Syracuse, we just development is myself, so I'm the development director. Just within the past 3 months, we hired a marketing and events coordinator, but that position was new. It used to be just one person doing all of those things, which is what I was doing when I started about a year ago. But that's a lot. It's a lot. And I have found since even just in the past 3 to 4 months being able to, event planning, I always say it like shaves off a piece of your soul, like being able to push that to someone else and just focus on building relationships and corporate relationships. I think it's going to be really transformational for us this year. I will say it's been really hard to keep someone in the development position. Here, historically, at least within the past 5 years, there was a lot of turnover. So I think it made it challenging coming into a role where there wasn't necessarily consistency with someone in that position. So I would just encourage all of you in your first year to give yourself grace. And it takes time. It takes time, but you'll get there.
Do any of you have a major gifts program? Are you focusing on major gifts and developing the relationships that can bring in substantial gifts?
So we actually, myself, the executive director, and our incoming executive director just started an endowment workshop. It'll be a 6-month course. Once a month we'll meet. So we currently do have, I think, 3 separate endowments, smaller sized ones, but just trying to work on building those. So this workshop hopefully will give us lots of insight into that.
We have a major gifts program that is on pause because our team also has been through quite a transition in the last couple of years. I know the framework is established, and so we are in the process of hiring a major gifts director who will then be able to lead that. Our team is the largest it's ever been. We have, obviously our CEO works very, very closely with our team. Lindsay here on this call is our philanthropy director. We have a director of annual campaigns, and then I do the communications, and we have a development associate and a philanthropic engagement manager. So she's really focused on building corporate partnerships and corporate sponsorships for our events. But it never feels like enough people.
I would be thrilled to have more than just me to be able to do any of that stuff. I mean, like I said, I do development and I do all the communications. I do event planning and production, and I've only been here, well, it'll be a year in February, and I just got the development position in October. And my first challenge was to have us get a CRM in place because we didn't even have that. And so I am literally starting from scratch. And so I am very grateful to have you guys here to bounce some ideas off, because this seems like a much more friendly group than like a big YWCA sponsored thing. So I'm very grateful, and I hope we keep this going.
You know what, we used Donor Perfect for our CRM, and it was already in place when I came, and I was thrilled because I've used it before, and I really think it's easy to use and good. But the key thing for us is when we brought in our development manager, she's crackerjack at databases, Donor Perfect she's worked with before specifically. So one thing that I've learned is that our CRMs can do so much more than what we do. A lot of times we're only touching the tip of the iceberg. But if you have somebody who is data savvy and actually likes that, who can look at the way that you're using your fields and your coding and is happy to slice and dice, that's been transformative for me, to have a person on the team that will say, hey, is this person on your radar? Because you know, we just got like another gift from her, and she seems to be giving every month, and we don't really know who she is. So those things have become really helpful. If it's just you and you're plugging along, a lot of times there's things that may fall under your radar that are huge opportunities. We try so hard to find and keep donors, and a lot of times they're already in your family of friends.
Good point.
What CRM are you using, Elizabeth?
We were supposed to have it in place at the beginning of the year, but we signed on with eTapestry. But they are running behind on their implementation, so I don't even have that to work with yet.
That's a tough one, and that it'll make your life so much easier. And we've started keeping our grants and grant next steps in our database so that we can do grant reports for the whole team and let program directors know what's the next step and when reports due and so forth. We also are using our CRM to capture our contacts when we have conversations with donors or substantial emails or whatever. We can use a blind copy email, and that email goes directly into the database. So when we're calling a donor or a donor calls us and we can pull them up, we have a whole bunch of information where it sounds like we know them well and can be really personal. Those are things that are really helping.
Amy, what system was that?
That's Donor Perfect.
Donor Perfect. Okay. And then Genevieve, with the system that you use, you mentioned like you have year-long contracts with multiple engagement points. Do you track that in your CRM or no? Like those deliverables?
No, we don't. And so I'm just like really excited to hear about Donor Perfect, because I've been trying to figure out, I write all the grants as well. And so I have a spreadsheet, which I know is, so I've been trying to do something, and I have been pushing Donor Perfect off. They keep reaching out to wanting to talk, and I'm like, no, I can't even get into it right now, but I need to get into it. We've outgrown Network for Good. It's been great because we send all of our email communications through Network for Good. We can see when people are opening the emails, and it's connected right to their donor file. And so we have a lot of like big brother stuff in there that we can see, but we need more to help. I love what you're saying, Amy, about Donor Perfect. I might have to reach out to you.
Absolutely, anytime, and we can pull in our manager as well. She's very, very knowledgeable. Wondering, does anybody use a moves management program? No, okay.
We use Donor Perfect as well, and we like it as far as like the information that it gathers. I think the reporting, I wish the reporting was a little bit easier. I feel like that's the tough part. I've also used Bloomerang in the past. I thought that was good. We use Constant Contact as a means of like the email communication, and I really enjoyed that with this analytics that it gives you, because we can hone in on those people who didn't open it up, or who are clicking and stuff. So that's what we use currently.
That's interesting. I'm finding we should have a conversation offline on this. I'm finding that the reporting is great in Donor Perfect, but it's become great because our database has become much cleaner. And
That's
we've
probably
added,
where we're lacking. I think just because Emma, who introduced herself earlier, she's been here for the past year and a half. I've been here for the past year. Now that we're working together in tandem, it's been better. But before that, it was so inconsistent with who was entering what, how they were entering it, how they were
what fields are you using
Yes.
consistently?
So like I think our reporting has just been so wonky in the past year based off of that. So it's hard to capture accurately.
Yeah, we're just finishing up a process now where we did a lot of recoding. We added some custom fields for things that we want to track. What it does mean is that we recoded all of the gifts from this year, but there will be apples to oranges to look at past year data. But it's worth it to be able to move forward. We really want to understand when we get a gift, what triggered that gift. And where did this person come from? So I'm thinking over the next 1 to 2 years, if we stay consistent in using it properly, then we'll have a whole bunch of guiding data to inform the development plan itself.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I'm excited for this, the end of year for the, not that I want time to pass any faster than it already does, but I'm excited to see where we're at and how much better it is at that point. So. Well, I know it's 12:30, so I am going to send the recording to everyone, and it'll include everyone's email as well, as if everyone's all right with that, sharing their email. And then I will also send out a doodle poll to see when the best time to meet next month is, because I loved this. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone again, and thank you so much for hopping on today.
Thank you for facilitating it. It was really good.
All right, have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.